Chapter 1 of Book 5 of Physics by Aristotle, translated by Thomas Taylor. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Jeffrey Edwards. Chapter 1. Everything, however, which is changed partly from accident, as when we say that what is musical walks, because that walks to which the being musical is an accident, and partly because something belonging to this is changed. It is simply said to be changed, as, for instance, such things as are said to be changed according to parts. For the body is healed because the eye or the breast is healed, and these are parts of the whole body. But there is something which is neither moved according to accident, nor because something else of it is moved, but because it is itself first moved, and this is that which is moved by itself. According to a different motion, however, there is a different subject, as, for instance, that which is changed according to quality, and the subject of change according to quality, which may be healed or heated, is different. The like also takes place in that which moves. For one thing moves according to accident, but another according to a part, because some one of its parts move, and another by itself primarily, as, for instance, the physician heals, and the hand strikes. But since there is something which first moves, and there is also something which is moved, and farther still, time in which it is moved, and besides these, that from which and that into which it is moved, for all motion is from something and into something, since that is different which is first moved, and into which and from which it is moved, as, for instance, wood, the hot and the cold. But of these, one is that which, another into which, and another from which. Since this is the case, it is evident that motion is in the wood, and not in the form, for neither form, nor place, nor any definite quantity either moves or is moved. But there is that which moves, and that which is moved, and that into which it is moved. For mutation is more denominated from that into which than from that from which it is moved. And on this account, corruption is a mutation into non-being, though also that which is corrupted is changed from being, and generation is a mutation into being, though it should be from non-being. What motion therefore is, has been shown before. But forms, passive qualities, and the place into which things that are moved, are things immovable, such, for instance, as science and heat. Some one, however, may doubt whether passive qualities are motions, and whiteness a passive quality, for in this case there will be a mutation into motion. But perhaps not whiteness is motion, but the becoming white. In those also there is a subsistence according to accident, according to a part, according to another, and primarily, and not according to another. Thus, that which is whitened is changed into that which is intellectually apprehended according to accident. For it happens to color to be intellectually perceived, but it is changed into color because the white is a part of color. It is also changed in Europe because Athens is a part of Europe, but it is changed into a white color essentially. Hence it is manifest how a thing is moved essentially, how according to accident, and how according to something else. Likewise, how the same thing is first, as well in that which moves as in that which is moved, and also that motion is not in form, but in that which is moved and is movable in energy. The mutation, therefore, which subsists according to accident, we shall omit, for it is in all things, and always, and of all things. But that which is not according to accident is not in all things, but in contraries, in things which have an intermediate subsistence, and in contradiction, the truth of which is confirmed by induction. But from that which has an intermediate subsistence a thing is changed, as from a contrary, for it uses it as that which is contrary to each extreme. For that which has an intermediate subsistence is in a certain respect the extremes. Hence, this compared to those, and those to this, are said to be, in a certain respect, contraries. Thus the middle chord compared to the niti is flat, and is sharp compared to the hupate. Thus also the dark brown compared to the black is white, and compared to the white is black. Chapter 2. Since, however, all mutation is from something into something, but this is evident from the name, for it denotes something after another, and the one signifies prior, but the other posterior. Hence, that which is changed may be changed in a fourfold respect, for it may be changed either from a subject into a subject, or from a non-subject into a non-subject, or from a non-subject into a subject, or from a subject into a non-subject. But I call the subject that which is rendered manifest by affirmation. Hence it is necessary, from what has been said, that there should be three mutations: that which is from a subject into a subject, that which is from a subject into a non-subject, and that which is from a non-subject into a subject. For that which is from a non-subject into a non-subject is not mutation, because it is not according to opposition, since they are neither contraries, nor is there contradiction. The mutation, therefore, which is from a non-subject into a subject, according to contradiction, is generation. The simple, indeed, that which simply is, but a certain mutation, that which is of a certain thing. Thus the mutation which is from non-white into white is the generation of white. But the mutation from non-being simply into essence is generation simply, according to which we say a thing is simply generated, and is not generated some particular thing. But the mutation from a subject into a non-subject is corruption, simply indeed the mutation from essence into non-being, but a certain mutation, that which is into the opposite negation, as was also said in generation. If, therefore, non-being is predicated multifariously, and neither that which is according to composition or division can be moved, nor that which is according to capacity, which is opposed to being simply considered according to energy, (for that which is not white or not good may at the same time be moved according to accident, since that which is not white may be man, but that which is simply not this particular thing can by no means be moved, since it is impossible for that which is not to be moved), if this be the case, it is also impossible for generation to be motion, because that is generated which is not. For though it should be especially generated according to accident, yet at the same time of that which is simply in generation, or becoming to be, it is true to say that it is non-being. In a similar manner also, with respect to being at rest. But all these absurdities happen from admitting that non-being is moved. And if everything which is moved is in place, but non-being is not in place, for it would be somewhere, hence neither is corruption motion, for either motion or rest is contrary to motion, but corruption is contrary to generation. Since, however, all motion is a certain mutation, and there are three mutations, which we have enumerated, but of these the mutations according to generation and corruption are not motions, and these are those which subsist according to contradiction. This being the case, it is necessary that the mutation which is from a subject into a subject should alone be motion. But the subjects are either contraries, or have an intermediate subsistence. For privation is supposed to be a contrary, and it is manifested by affirmation, as the naked, the white, and the black. Chapter 3. If, therefore, the categories are divided by essence or substance, quality, the where, relation, and quantity, action and passion, it is necessary that there should be three motions: that which is of quantity, that which is of quality, and that which is according to place. But there is not motion according to essence, because nothing among beings is contrary to essence. Neither is there motion in relation, because it is possible that one of the relatives being changed, the other may be truly predicated, though in no respect changed, so that the motion of these is according to accident. Neither, therefore, is motion of agent and patient, nor of anything moved and moving, because there is not motion of motion, nor generation of generation, nor, in short, mutation of mutation. For, in the first place, there may be a motion of motion in a twofold respect, either as of a subject, as, for instance, a man is moved because he is changed from white into black. Is motion, therefore, thus heated or refrigerated, or does it change its place, or is it increased or diminished? But this is impossible, because mutation is not any subject. Or there may be a motion of motion, because some other subject is changed from the mutation into another form, as, for instance, a man from disease into health. But neither is this possible except according to accident. For this motion is a mutation from one form into another. And in a similar manner, generation and corruption, except that these mutations are thus into opposites. But this is not the case with motion. At the same time, therefore, he is changed from health into disease, and from this very mutation into another. It is manifest, however, that when he is diseased, he will now have been changed into a certain disease, for he may rest or remain in that disease. Besides, he who is moved to disease is not always moved to any casual motion, and that from some one to some other, so that the motion will be opposite, viz., the becoming well, but this because it so happened, just as if from reminiscence he should be changed into oblivion, because that in which these are inherent is changed, at one time into science, and at another into health. Farther still, there would be a progression to infinity, if there should be a mutation of mutation, and generation of generation. It is necessary, therefore, that the former should be, if the latter will be. Thus, if simple generation should at any time be generated, that also which is generated will be generated. Hence, that which was simply generated was not yet, but there was something which was generated, and which is now generated, and this again was once generated. Hence, that which was then generated was not yet. Since, however, there is not anything first in infinites, there will not be that which was first generated, so that neither will that be which is consequent to this. Neither, therefore, is it possible for anything to be generated, or moved, or changed. Again, contrary motion is of the same thing, and likewise rest, generation, and corruption. Hence, that which is generated is then corrupted when it becomes that which is generated. For neither immediately when it is generated is it then corrupted, nor afterwards, since it is necessary that what is corrupted should have a subsistence. Farther still, it is necessary that matter should subsist under that which is in generation or becoming to be, and under that which is changing. What then will it be? As that which is changed in quality is either body or soul, so that which is becoming to be is either motion or generation. And again, what is that into which it is moved? For it is necessary that there should be motion and generation of this, from this into this. At the same time, however, how will it be? For the generation of discipline will not be discipline, so that neither will there be generation of generation, nor a certain generation of a certain generation. Again, if there are three species of motion, it is necessary that some one of these should be the subject nature, and to which they are moved. Thus it is necessary that lation should be changed in quality, or borne along. In short, since everything which is moved in three ways, viz., either according to accident, or according to a part, or from itself, mutation can alone be changed according to accident, as if he who is restored to health should run or learn. Mutation, however, according to accident, we have already omitted. But since motion neither belongs to substance or essence, nor to relation, nor to action and passion, it remains that it alone subsists according to quality, quantity, and situation. For in each of these there is contrariety. Let therefore the motion which subsists according to quality be alliation, for this common name is adapted to it. But I mean by quality not that which is in essence, for difference also is quality, but that which is passive, according to which it is said to suffer, or to be impassive. But the motion, according to quantity, with respect to a common name, is anonymous. But when it is divided into two species, it is increase and diminution. The increase which tends to the perfect being magnitude, but that which is from this diminution. And the motion, according to place, with respect to the peculiar and the common, is anonymous. But let it be called in common lation, though those things alone are properly said to be borne along, which, when they change their place, cannot of themselves stop, and which do not move themselves according to place. But the change to the more and the less in the same form is alliation. For motion is from the contrary to the contrary, either simply or in a certain respect. For the alliation which proceeds to the less is said to be changed into the contrary, but that which proceeds to the more is moved as from the contrary to it. But it is of no consequence whether it is in a certain respect changed, or simply, except that it is necessary that the terms should be contrary. But it is more and less, because more or less of the contrary is inherent, and is not inherent. That there are these three motions alone, therefore, is from these things manifest. Chapter 4. But that is immovable which is entirely incapable of being moved, just as sound is invisible, and also that which is scarcely moved in a long time, or which begins to be moved slowly, and which is called difficult to be moved. That likewise is immovable which is naturally adapted and able to be moved, but is not then moved when it is naturally adapted, and where, and as it is naturally adapted, which alone among things immovable I denominate to be at rest. For rest is contrary to motion, so that it will be a privation of that motion of which it is capable. What motion therefore is, and also rest, how many mutations there are, and what kind of mutations are motions, is evident from what has been said. Chapter 5. In the next place, let us show what the subsistence together, or at once, to ama, and separately, is; also what to touch is, and to have an intermediate subsistence; and what the successive is, the adhering and the continuous; and in what things each of these is naturally adapted to subsist. Such things, therefore, are said to subsist together, or at once according to place, as are in one place primarily; but things subsist separately which are in different places. Those things are said to touch each other, the extremities of which are together. But that has an intermediate subsistence to which the thing that is changed is naturally adapted to arrive, before it comes to the extreme into which it is changed, when it is continually changed according to nature. The least intermediate subsistence, however, is in three things. For the contrary is the extremity of mutation, but that is continually moved which intermits nothing, or the smallest portion of the thing, but not of time; for nothing hinders but that an intermission taking place, and immediately after the hypate, or the highest chord, the neate, or lowest chord, may sound. This, however, is an intermission of the thing in which motion is produced, and this is evident in mutations according to place, and in other mutations. But the contrary according to place is that which is very much distant in a right line. For the smallest right line is bounded, and that which is bounded is a measure. That is successive between which, and that to which it is successive, there is nothing of the same genus, when it is alone after the beginning, either by position or nature, or is thus defined in some other way. I say, for instance, as a line or lines between a line, or the monad or monads between the monad, or a house between a house. Nothing, however, hinders but that something else may subsist between. For that which is successive to something, and is something posterior. For one is not successive to two, nor the first day of the month to the second, but the latter are successive to the former. But the adhering is said to be that which, being successive, touches. Since, however, all mutation is in opposites, and opposites are contraries, and things which subsist according to contradiction, and there is no medium of contradiction, it is evident that in contraries there will be that which has an intermediate subsistence. The continuous is something belonging to the cohering, but I say that the continuous is when the boundaries of things by which each touches the other become one and the same, and, as the name signifies, are held together. But this being determined, it is evident that the continuous is in those things from which one thing is naturally adapted to be produced according to contact, and so that what is connected may at length become one. Thus also the whole will be one, as for instance, either by a nail, or by glue, or by contact, or by natural conjunction. It is also evident that what is successive is first, for it is necessary that what touches should be successive, but not that everything which is successive should touch. Hence, also, in things which are prior by definition, there is the successive, as for instance in numbers, but there is not contact. And if a thing indeed is continuous, it is necessary that it should touch, but if it touches, it is not yet continuous, for it is not necessary that their extremes should be one if they subsist together, but if the extremes are one, it is necessary that they should subsist together, so that natural conjunction is last according to generation. For it is necessary to be in contact if the extremes are naturally conjoined, but not all things which are in contact are naturally connected. But it is manifest that in those things in which there is not contact, there is not natural conjunction. Hence, if the point and the monad have, as some say, a separate subsistence, it is not possible that the point and the monad should be the same. For with points contact is present, but with monads the successive, and with the former something may be intermediate, since every line subsists between points. But it is not necessary that there should be something intermediate with the latter, for nothing is intermediate between two and one. And thus we have shown what the subsisting separately and together is, also what it is to touch, and to have an intermediate subsistence, and what the successive is, the adhering and the continuous, and in what kind of things each of these subsists. End of chapter 5. Recording in memory of Mitchell Edwards.